Imagine waking up in a quiet American town in the summer of 1912. The streets are calm. The neighbors know each other by name. Children play freely outside. Doors are rarely locked. Nothing ever happens here. But on one June night, something unimaginable crept into the town of Villisca, Iowa. A killer entered a family home. Not one person would survive. 8 people. 2 parents, 4 children, 2 young guests. All murdered while they slept. No screams. No witnesses. No arrests. More than a century later, the mystery remains unsolved. Who committed one of the most horrifying crimes in American history? And how did they disappear without leaving a trace? This is the story of the Villisca Axe Murders. In 1912, Villisca was a small farming community in southwestern Iowa. The town was home to around 2,500 people. Life moved slowly. Most residents worked in agriculture or local businesses. Crime was almost unheard of. Families left doors unlocked. Children walked alone. People trusted their neighbors. Among the most respected families in town was the Moore family. The father, Josiah B. Moore, was a successful businessman. His wife, Sarah Moore, was known as a devoted mother. Together they had 4 children. Everything about the family seemed ordinary. No one knew that within hours they would become victims in one of America's most infamous unsolved murders. June 9, 1912. It was a Sunday. The Moore family attended church that evening. With them were 2 sisters, Lena Stillinger and Ina Stillinger. The girls were close friends of the Moore children. After church, the sisters accepted an invitation to spend the night at the Moore house. Nothing seemed unusual. Neighbors saw the family return home around 9:45 p.m. Lights gradually went out. The house became quiet. Everyone went to bed. What nobody knew was that someone may already have been inside the home. Waiting, watching, listening. Investigators later believed the killer remained hidden inside the house until everyone fell asleep. Sometime after midnight, the murderer began moving through the darkness. Armed with an axe taken from the property, the killer entered the parents' bedroom first. What happened next lasted only minutes. One by one, every occupant of the house was attacked. The children never had a chance. The visiting sisters were killed in the downstairs bedroom. No gunshots. No neighbors hearing cries for help. Only silence. When the killer finished, 8 people were dead. But the strangest part was still to come. The murderer did not immediately leave. Evidence suggested the killer remained in the house afterward. Curtains were drawn. Mirrors were covered. Food appeared to have been eaten. The behavior seemed deliberate, almost ritualistic, as if the killer felt comfortable inside the murder scene. The next morning, neighbors became concerned. The Moore family had not begun their daily routine. One neighbor approached the house. There was no answer. Eventually, someone entered. What they found would shock the town forever. Bodies were discovered throughout the house. News spread rapidly. Residents gathered outside. Many could not believe what they were hearing. An entire family wiped out overnight. The crime scene quickly became chaotic. Before modern forensic methods existed, dozens of curious townspeople wandered through the home. Potential evidence was accidentally destroyed. Fingerprints were not properly collected. Important clues were lost forever. Investigators were already facing a nearly impossible challenge. Law enforcement searched desperately for answers, but there were very few leads. No obvious motive. No robbery. No clear suspect. Then rumors began spreading. Some believed the murders were committed by a traveling serial killer. Others suspected a personal enemy. Several men would eventually become suspects. One of the most controversial was Frank Fernando Jones. Jones had reportedly been involved in business conflicts with Josiah Moore. Some even claimed there had been personal disputes between the families. But evidence remained weak. Nothing could be proven. Another suspect soon emerged. A mysterious preacher named George Kelly. Kelly had a disturbing fascination with violent crimes. His behavior during questioning raised concerns. Eventually, he confessed. The case appeared solved. But there was a problem. His confession was inconsistent. Many details did not match the evidence. Kelly later recanted. Investigators could never establish whether he was truly responsible. The case once again collapsed into uncertainty. As years passed, another possibility gained attention. Some researchers believed Villisca was not an isolated crime. Across America, several similar murders had occurred. Entire families attacked while sleeping. Axes used as weapons. Strikingly similar crime scenes. Could one killer have been traveling from town to town? If true, the Villisca murders may have been part of a larger pattern. A serial killer operating years before the term serial killer even existed. The theory remains controversial, yet many investigators believe it cannot be ignored. More than 100 years later, key questions remain unanswered. Why was the Moore family targeted? Did the killer know the victims? Why stay inside the house afterward? Why cover mirrors? Why leave behind so little evidence? And perhaps most importantly, how could someone murder 8 people in a small house without attracting attention? Every answer seems to create another mystery. Today, the Moore house still stands. Visitors travel from around the world to see the site. Some come seeking history. Others come searching for answers. But despite decades of investigation, countless theories, and endless speculation, the truth remains hidden. The killer vanished into history. No jury ever heard the evidence. No family received justice. No one knows exactly what happened inside that house on the night of June 9, 1912. And that is what makes the Villisca Axe Murders one of the most haunting unsolved crimes in American history. A quiet town, a sleeping family, a killer in the darkness, and a mystery that refuses to die.